Food security is a global goal and concern which several governments, organizations, and individuals have continued to make frantic efforts to achieve. Welcome to another edition of Farmer's Diary. I am Iwese Kunde Enoch. One disturbing factor working against attaining this goal of food security in Nigeria is communal clashes. Worrisome more so now is the current constant displacement of farming communities in the peak of the farming season in Nigeria, which is the rainy season.
Seeing the problem that the COVID-19 pandemic has posed to the whole nation, see, there is no any option left for us but to go to the farm. And it is unfortunate to see our farmers engaging themselves in crisis. This crisis that could have otherwise been resolved easily. So, in fact, it is very, very unfortunate. You see, this is the time that everybody is needed to go to farm. Because we have only one system. We depend on the rain-fed farming system. If it were in other places like India, you will say after we will go on irrigation. But we are here in this nation, we are depending mostly on rain-fed agriculture. After the rain, we will not have anything anywhere. So we stand to lose. So that's why we were calling on the farmers to embrace peace and go back to their business, so as to avoid waste of time.
In fact, they started this in Donga areas last year, even this year, killing people in the farms. I tried my possible way to make sure two of them should come together so that this is the season of farming. Last year, our people could not farm. Then they said they could not farm. But this time, I'll let them come together. Forget about crisis. Let's farm. But yet, I don't know.
The incident in Maraba is highly regrettable. Regrettable in the sense that we are battling with the high level of coronavirus pandemic. And if at this point we can never face what is facing us and we go out to fight ourselves, it is very unfortunate. And we feel we shouldn't be fighting at this point. For over a year, since April 1st, 2019, we've been on the battlefield. We had never achieved anything. And I wonder why this recent one, again in Maraba or in Donga local government, there was this fight transcended from Okare to Donga some times ago. But at least the people understood themselves, they sat and they reconciled themselves. And they're working, they're doing their normal businesses together. The team, the Jukun, the Chen, and everybody, they've been working so normal. We wonder why this recent one.
Accusations and counter-accusations are always the fallout of any effort to find out the reasons for such attacks. But one their consequence is it leaves ugly memories where people, mostly poor and vulnerable, lose their loved ones, humble shelters, livelihood, especially their farmlands.
Why was helicopter drop there? For one reason. And immediately after the helicopter dropped, it's not after 1 hour that attack took place. So we are suspecting that maybe they broke some things for them. That's our own thinking.
Where we have gotten a helicopter that will come and brought people in Anano. For what? This crisis, if we go deep into it, no T-band has ever planned that they will go fighting with the Chen people. This was just an issue of land dispute. In the village of Gida Adamo, which is about 20 kilometers away from Maraba, if not that the Chen people planned this thing to attack the T people on that very day, I think we wouldn't have had this thing on ground.
We knew the TV militias started burning some areas of Maraba, places like Zambana, Sanso, Gida Adamu, and Kankwi. Sanso, there's still any dead body pit. That place is burnt down. Gida Adamu, they burned down the place and killed 2 people. fact, I was surprised because last 2 months we went to Nasarawa for a peace meeting, which there was a communicate that the two governments should join hands together to make sure everybody should go back to his house and make sure to start farming, because this is the season of farming. But look at what happened. It's very fortunate.
The destruction, villages, all the tea villages within that surrounded Maraba have been brought down. Those inside Maraba, none of them is standing. And to a point, it was coming into Beli local government as well. Because if not, by the grace of God and the chief of Sunte, our people from Sunte area and Zaga side would have not been there. Their houses would have been destroyed. Yeah, the people are not there. If you go to Beli town now, you see over 1,000 displaced persons. If you go to Kurmi, I was called this morning, the chief of the tea people in Kurmi called me this morning that the Roman Catholic Church in Baisa is accommodating over 500 people who have been displaced from towards the border villages of Kurmi and Donga have been moved to Baisa now.
We were around day 43 hours on Wednesday when we discovered that all the thieves that are around us began to pack their things out. Before we noticed, they have killed one of our brother from this Gida Adamusa Donga route. So from there, we decided to check around whether they are still around or they have left. So before we discover, they have left, all of them. So we have not option than to break their house down. We are on the process of doing that. Our elders stop us.
The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO has said that about 7 million Nigerians will experience food shortage between June and August 2020 as 16 northern states and the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) have been identified to face food and nutrition crisis. These states are Borno, Adamawa, Yobe, Benue, Gombe, Taraba, Katsina, Jigawa, Kano, Bauchi, Plateau, Kaduna, Kebbi, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Niger. Now, with communal clashes affecting some part of these states, already predicted by the FAO to experience food shortage, such as Taraba State. What then will be the fate of the people whose main occupation is farming?
It is very obvious that the COVID-19 is going to deal a devastating blow on our food system. And if care is not taken and proper measures are not put in place, the food system will so disintegrate that there may be, or this prediction may come true. What we must do now, and I think we should do it urgently, is to make sure that the drivers of agriculture in Nigeria are forthright, transparent, and ready to work people. You must effect some change on the way of doing things now. I have had the privilege of dealing with 6 ministers of agriculture, from Adamu Bello through Professor Abdallah Adeshina, Abba Saidi Ruma, Abdu Obe, and now Nanono. From all I have been observing, and you know I'm a keen observer of these issues, the weakest link we have is the present HMA. If you look at the 9 months that he has been in office, I'm not sure that we can touch on any impact on the food system, agriculture generally. So the president should simply replace him and then put people there that he can rely on, and he himself should do what I said even before he appointed ministers. Instead of being Minister of Oil, he should be Minister of Agriculture, because agriculture is the backbone of our economy. We need to accentuate our mechanization. This talk of borrowing money to buy a few tractors to bring to Nigeria, maybe 10,000 to 774 local governments, is like a drop in the ocean. and it may not come in and be used during this farming season. So if you look back at that prediction from FAO or the UN generally, they may be right, because most of these plans cannot be implemented during this farming season. So if what they are talking about is problems during and after this farming season, they may not be wrong. You see, unfortunately, people you think will do very well turning out to be very poor managers. The current governor of Taraba State was an outstanding architecture student in Zaria. We looked up to him as somebody who was very good and who could produce results. In governance, what I am seeing is that he has a Herculean task of putting people together and treating them as his own people. If you take sides in conflict, you are aggravating the conflict. The Taraba people are one and the same people. Be they Christians, pagans, or Muslims, they belong to Taraba State and they have lived together happily for a very long time. In fact, some of the most senior citizens there have all kinds of religions within their extended family systems. If you look at Danjuma, I believe he has cousins and nephews and some relations who are Muslims, even though he's a Christian. And I know that he has had a very good relationship with Muslims and Christians and all that. And then Fulani people have lived very happily with their neighbors, farmers and all that. They had this symbiotic relationship between them. The animals of the Fulani people would they are coming with provide droppings for manure, permanent manure, and they will take corn stalks and all that for their feed. These things have been there for a very long time. People have been living together. But recently, we have seen skirmishes all over the place. It's not only Taraba. But it's very pronounced in that end because people are very selfish. People do these things for other reasons. Some politics, ethno-religious, and all kinds of things. Activities are taking place all over the place. So the government in Taraba should really sit down with people of all leanings, try to understand each other and know the differences between people and try to marry these differences with the rights of the people to have a good life. Then you can have peace and prosperity. People will go to their farms because if they don't produce food, the Tarabans that will suffer because they will have to go to the neighboring Adama and other states, Benue, to buy food. But if food was available in Taraba, they wouldn't go anywhere else to get it. And it would be cheaper if it was available there. So it's something that we need to look at seriously.
We are calling government that the security men should be around so that if something happens like this, the matter will not be overemphasized, so that they will come close and do the reasonable matter. What happens is that a person who comes and destroy your property, even if you take them to the place they're supposed to tell the truth, to explain it for us, then there will be injustice among all those things. There should be justice. By the grace of God, we are praying. No condition is permanent. We are praying that God will come and this thing will go away. Everything will begin, there will be end of the thing. We pray God that we prevent whatever happens to us so that we live in peace and harmony.
If you plant now and you go into your do business, now you produce, you will see how people will rush to come and buy. The only thing is that if we don't produce, it is when you shall live in regret. But the business is very, very lucrative and it's promising. So our farmers will embrace peace, live together, and go about their businesses. And the government also, we call upon the government and security agencies to help protect the farmers that are in the villages. In the past, It used to be between farmers and herders. But now, both groups are now subjected to kidnappers. They will go to your farm and kidnap you. Others are not exempted. Big farmers are not exempted. Even the big men, the commissioner from the town that go to do farming business, are also afraid because they will go and kidnap them on the farm. And then, you see, there are many of them don't go to farm for the past 2 years. They don't farm. So our call to the government is to give us secured environment so that we'll be able to do the business properly as we should do.
There's nothing like security personnel in this area, in this community at all. Because it's with us security in Gankwe, Gida Adamu, they kill and destroy all the whole village. Soldiers and mobile, they were there. Nothing they were doing. So we have not option that we ourselves, we should secure our environment. If the government has help, we need the help from the government. Because we live as if we don't have government. We don't have government, nobody to support us, nobody is looking over us. They left us alone, all of them are there enjoying themselves, we're here suffering. So it's over for us. It's better we die in securing our community. So this thing, if that's in a time of election now, you foresee security all over this country. But since they are through with election now, everybody is in his position now. They care about not the poor ones. So we are trying our best to gain out ourselves.
Efforts to get any relevant government official to tell us how they intend to resolve this red alert to ensure people do not suffer too much food shortage were unsuccessful. But the Food and Agriculture Organization FAO has recommended the need for adequate budgetary allocation and other supporting activities at national and state levels. Policymakers to implement policies that would positively impact on the livelihood and income-generating activities of the populace. Good and helpful tips there, if you ask me. But whether or not the various state governments projected on the red alert will adopt them to improve on food production and avert hunger will remain our focus here on Farmers Diary, as we urge you to keep a date with us on our next edition. I am Iwe Sekunde Enoch, saying, do agric, it shall pays.